Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to another edition of Joe's Super Fantabulous PC Gaming Channel. This is a quick vlog update for the channel. This is what I do when I can't sleep. So it's one of those days, or nights, or mornings, depending on your perspective. Well, on the plus side, I will be very early to my day job today. And then, of course, I also have a night job too. And I was going to school full time, but I'm now done with that. So, oh boy. But one of the things that kind of, well, in this case, has kept me up or woke me up early today is I see all these channels on YouTube that are getting, well, basically deleted for nonsense reasons. Like, for example, posting tutorials. Here I am about to post a whole tutorial series on Linux. Because it's a totally amazing coincidence that anyone who seems to want to show things about how to get over on stupid things that Windows does, or, well, and other things, has bad things happen to their channel. And my channel's not big enough to have any, representative at YouTube that I'd be able to talk to. And that's why I'm also transcoding all my videos. That's what you see here on the screen. Is Handbrake is a very popular application for transcoding. And I'd like to be able to have everything available on Rumble and Odyssey. I have channels over there. They're a little neglected because I hadn't gotten around to transcoding things. I've been so busy recording stuff. And it occurred to me I'm at that point where I should have a dedicated transcoding computer. But rather than use one of the machines that I built myself, I decided that I'd rather have an old corporate machine. So I dug this out of the closet. A lot of people would consider a computer like this e-waste, or at least they would, and before the Windows 11 debacle. This is an old Dell Optiplex 7020. It came with 32 gigs of RAM, and even with that, at the time I bought it, I think I bought this 2 years ago, and it came with Windows 10. I think it was only like $200. I couldn't say no. It was a great deal. It's got a Haswell in there, because it's a i7 4770, so it's got 4 cores and it's hyper-threaded, so I've got 8 threads, and I went and I stuffed in an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 750 Ti and a 4 terabyte hard drive. And now, of course, it's got Zorin OS 18 on it. All right, so why are we looking at this computer? Well, like I said, for my aficionados that might want to use Rumble or Odyssey, and like I said, who knows? My YouTube channel could just disappear on a whim one day because AI said, "Oh, Joe bad," and then I've heard that people would try to appeal it, and the AI lies to them and is like, "Oh yeah, a human checked it," but somehow the human checked their entire channel in 20 seconds. It's like, yeah, it's either the Flash checked your YouTube channel, or no human checked it. The AI is lying to you. Yeah, I'm going to go press X for doubt that those human reviews were actually human. And, YouTube is just one of those platforms where if you put all your eggs in one basket, they can turn on you at any time for any reason, and you may never even know why. I've had that happen with other corporate sites. I won't get into it, but yeah, they don't care. I'm not big enough or interesting enough for anyone to care about, so I want to diversify. Now, X, on the other hand, can accept videos at the same bit rate and file size as YouTube can, but both Odyssey and Rumble need a little bit of help. I need to transcode that stuff down. And because it's going to require a lot, because we're talking about terabytes worth of video at this point, because I like to do longer videos, and I like to try and give it the best resolution I can for the YouTube and X crowds to be able to enjoy. And, Odyssey and Rumble, it needs to be a little bit smaller. Although I have to admit, at first I thought it was going to be kind of bad, but the settings that Odyssey likes for me to use, which is, 30 FPS with a constant bit rate of 6 kilobits, or, 6 megabits, sorry, is actually not so bad. I've been, maybe I'm more forgiving. I had a lot of fun in the eras when 30 FPS was the peak, and these days I'm happy with 60 FPS, so yeah, the 30 FPS doesn't look too bad to me, and especially if you're watching on a mobile device. Oh, and if you're wondering, the reason that I'm using this 750 Ti is that it allows me to use NVIDIA's encoding. But the nice thing about the 750 Ti is that it runs off board power. So this old corporate machine has a 250 watt power supply. These machines are designed to, run by the thousands in a corporation and not run up the electric bill. So they get the job done. They've got the power for what they need to do without, being really, really expensive. And the 750 Ti is specifically designed to be able to run right off of the motherboard. And so board power is good enough. So I don't need to change out the power supply for this machine. I did need to give it a big hard drive because it came with like some anemic little SSD of like, I don't know, I think I had like 500 gigs or maybe 1 terabyte. I yanked that thing out because we don't need Windows. We need lots of capacity for video. And so it's got a 4 terabyte drive in here. That should be good enough. I don't expect to need to exceed 4 terabytes for my buffer because I have SANs that can hold anything more than that. So my backlog should not be more than 4 terabytes at any given time. The reason that I'm showing this to you is that I was thinking to myself as I'm putting together my Linux video series whether or not I should include things like how to record gameplay with OBS, how to transcode it with Handbrake, and so forth and so on. It is gaming related after all. So it doesn't have to just be how to get the games going. It could also be how to get the games recorded, how to get the games transcoded, and so forth and so on. And like I said, the nice thing is that, this PC is designed to run 24/7. Not all motherboards are rated for the same number of hours of continuous operation. You'll find this out the hard way. If you try the same thing with like a cheapy motherboard that you got for like $50, and then you run it 24 hours a day, transcoding terabytes worth of video, they will burn up. Ask me how I know. I have worked computers to death. And, for the longest time, I didn't spend a lot of money on my motherboards. I put the money in the GPUs. I put the money in the memory or the CPU. Motherboards, like, as long as it's connected, it's got the right interfaces. But not all motherboards are the same. Well, the nice thing is, like I said, these corporate machines are specifically designed to run 24/7 for years. Because in a corporate setting, if it's a really good one or a bad one, depending on how you look at it, there are many places that run 3 shifts a day, 24/7. So the machines may never shut down, except whenever it's time for patches. In the case of Windows, Linux machines get patched too, but a little bit less frequently. Security's a little bit better. And that's what I'm liking here is that I've got these old machines that, like I said, other people would consider e-waste, but with Zorin OS 18, it's like they're back from the dead and they're productive again. And without all the Windows bloat, suddenly they're very useful too. And like I said, I love the fact that it's not going to run up the electric bill. Electricity is not cheap these days. AI data centers running up the price of everything. So I'm worried about AI canceling my channels. Worried about AI running up my power bill. It's just AI. Makes you want to pull your hair out, right? So let me know what you think. I know I'm rambling because it's early in the morning. I'm still kind of waking up here. Once I get enough caffeine, I'll be safe to actually drive to work. But should we include things like this in the video series? On my YouTube channels, there is a distinction. So I've got a gaming channel, a technology channel, which is very neglected, a Linux channel, and a few other channels. But on Odyssey, they're all thrown into the same bucket. The same thing with Rumble and X. The channel is the channel, and it just covers everything. But for YouTube, that's the distinction. Do you guys want to be able to see how to set all these things up? Should I include it there too? And we can even look at which GPUs are good for this type of stuff, or if you need to do a CPU-only configuration and examples of some corporate machines that might be handy for it, or if you really need to in a pinch, you can use consumer motherboards. Just be aware that you probably only want to do a few videos at a time and don't be like crazy like me. And, some motherboards are better than others. There are some that'll take it just fine. But I've tried this before where I'm like, okay, we're going to transcode, 6 terabytes worth of video. Let me know when you're done. And then I come back and the computer's dead. After a few days of continuous operation. And I was like, oh, man, I should have paid more than $50 on that motherboard. It's not the fault of the motherboard manufacturers. They sold me a board that works. I just kind of, beat the heck out of it. It was designed to, run for a few hours a day and then be turned off, not to just run all the time. And like I said, the nice thing is that these machines, this is an old computer, but it's probably still able to run 24/7, at least for a little while, to do the things that I want it to do. And so, yeah, like I said, it's a machine that other people would have turned their nose up at. I mean, I think I paid $200 for this computer when I bought it. Of course, they're not going to be that now. Now with this worldwide RAM crisis, hell, people might pay that just to get the RAM out of it. It's got DDR3, but DDR3 is going up in price because DDR5 is nigh unavailable. DDR4, boy, you better be ready to sell a kidney. And so now everyone's like, well, DDR3, Hey, you know what? As a matter of fact, I was thinking to myself, if it gets too bad, I can always go to DDR2. Woo! I've got everything here. So let me know what you think. Should we go ahead and include that as part of our Linux series? I'm still planning out all the episodes, and they don't have to be all complete. I could do a few, and then if we want to, we can always add more in the future in order to round it out. It's like, hey, Joe, I was hoping you were going to cover this. I like all your suggestions and feedback. I do read all of your comments. Sometimes it takes me a little longer to get to them than others, but I do read them all. My channel is not big enough yet for me to be like, oh, I don't have time for all these comments. I'm such a big YouTuber. Nope. I have time to read them all. It's just I have to fit them in between, work out a couple of jobs. But I get to it eventually, and I do love hearing from you. So let me know what you think, and I'll plan out the series as I try to wake up here and get ready for work. See you next time.